With all art, writing's a practice. If you want to be a great writer, you probably have to read, which you probably do. On the contrary, if you want to make films, you probably watch movies. If you want to be a musician, you probably listen to music. And an a if you're an artist, you probably look at art. You probably spend most of your time scrolling scrolling through Instagram, and looking at Sam Dillard's page. Um, so as a writer, I read a few books. Actually, quite a lot of books. Like Dean Koontz, Bird is pretty good. You guys know this one. It's a messed up book, mate. Or stuff like this. Yeah, you're not tripping. It's the weird one. Oh man. I'm going to hell. Probably the first one to tell you that you probably don't have to read to become a writer. Now, this may seem like new news to you, but to do the thing that you want to do, you don't actually have to consume it. It sounds kind of weird, right? Because it sounds extremely it sounds sounds obvious, right? That you want to write better, so you have to read, which is very true. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to read. If you want to be a better screenwriter, you have to read screenplays, bad and good ones. To be a novelist, you have to read books, obviously. But writing goes way deeper than just reading books, interpreting them, making your own story ideas, and then bringing them to life. That's not really what writing is. To me, writing is more interpreting life. Now, I don't really hear many people say this except Tyler Mowry and I think her name is I've forgot her channel name, but I'll put her picture up here. She's a great writing YouTuber, and they explain that writing is learning about life. It's interpreting life, and that's what you are when you're a writer. You're an observer of life. You're living life and seeing the complexities and problems within our world and making stories out of them. Most people will probably disagree that like there's cool books, like for example, there's like the Star Wars novels, like Star Wars movies, or there's like cool sci-fi films, and that stuff is cool, but it's most of it isn't really real writing, to me at least. Most of those films are conceptual films. They're conceptual stories, which is perfectly fine, but they're not accomplishing more than they could. Most writers sell themselves short and make a really cool story with no backing behind it. I've said this before probably, but I see no writers wanting to do this. I see no writers actually take personal experience from their life. Nobody's explaining this, nobody's talking about this, that the key to great stories, especially good characters, is to actually take people you've met from your life and make them into characters. It sounds really weird, but meet new people, make new friends, go through heartbreak or, stuff like that, or or talk to like the random barista inside the Starbucks if you go to Starbucks, but you won't see me there. And learn from them. It feels kind of weird to say, but you want to be critiquing their character. You want to be living through their eyes and what they do, right? Because all characters have beliefs and all, that sort of thing. Since we know this already. And what was the next point? freak, I forgot. And then once you've done that critique, right, it still sounds weird. You can actually move on to your writing. You can return back to your writer's desk, like this. Not sure why I did that. And actually write a story. Most of my stories are based on real life. Well, not really, but they're based on things that have happened to me. I'm wrestling with problems that I have specifically dealt with within my life to then create stories from them. Most popular movies and most popular books don't do this. They don't. They're mostly concepts. This more goes for movies because I do know that popular books, most of the books I mentioned or showed you before, were based on real life. And that's why those books are good, is because they're analyses of what happens within our world. That comes back to the question, do you have to read to be a great writer? No, you don't. It helps because you learn about structure, you learn about how writers are constructing characters and worlds and, like the fundamentals. But this isn't helpful to actually reach your true potential. Now, there's a quote by Benjamin Franklin. I'm not sure why this comes from Benjamin Franklin, the dude on like the $100 bill, but I found this on Goodreads, and he said, "You either write something worth reading or do something worth writing," and that makes sense to me for this video. Is that you should be out there experiencing what life has to offer, not constricting yourself down to just reading and consuming movies and books and comic books or webtoons or whatever you want to write for, because that is restrictive to the fictional world. The fictional world is not its separate thing. The fictional world, in my opinion, is critiquing the real world. It's using metaphors and allegories within these concepts to wrestle with what problems we're facing within our lives. And I think that's the job of artists, is to push humanity forward because nobody else is. We're so focused on these other things that we found our place within the world, which is to critique it. Now, I hope you liked the video. This was a little weird, especially with showing you the secret book. But I hope you liked it, and I hope this was helpful within your writing endeavors. And like I said before, know the truth, speak the truth. It's Scalia, signing off.